Well, welcome McFarland School District. This is the Group 2, Grade 2 and Grade 3 meeting. We will be sharing our Launch Literacy program, the new EL program, with you.
Hello, good morning, everyone. What I have here is your portal that this has been specifically designed for your district. If you are teachers in 2nd and 3rd grade, you are going to be doing Launch to Literacy. This is the program over here that you will be working with. And if I open it up, and if I look at the levels here, for grades 2nd and 3rd, you're going to be doing the B level, this one in here. You can access that program from here in the front, or you can go on the side and you can access the program right here on the side. If you take a look at the information here, we have the description of the program. If you want to read what it is and what are the components are and what we put them together, it's right here. If you want to see the scope and sequence of the program, how these sounds were put together, this program is put together so at the end of the 2nd year, the students would have seen every sound and every spelling construction that is meaningful and very productive for reading. So it's a sequential program as far as the sounds, because it's very important that the students have a very systematic sequential program in phonics and phonemic awareness, and of course in reading comprehension and in writing. Then if you ever want to see the alignment to standards, to the ELD standards, you can just open up here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up level B because that's the one that you're going to be working with. If I open up quarter one, you see you have daily curriculum weeks 1 to 9. Do not open that one because that doesn't give you 45 minutes of classroom instruction. This one on this side is the one that gives you the 45 minutes. And if you take a look at your assignments according to the agenda, you have people who were doing reading foundation, which is the blue section, and you have teachers who will be doing the reading comprehension, which is over here. It's very important that you know which one to click because this one is only, the blue one is only going to give the students the foundation as they learn how to read. So all the lessons in here are going to be listening and speaking, phonemic awareness, phonics, words to know. Those are high frequency words that the students need to know how to read. Over here, the reading comprehension. Of course, every single lesson has to have listening and speaking because this is an ELD program. But we also have in here the reading comprehension. We have language. That means that you're going to find lots of lessons on nouns, on verbs, on pronouns, and then in writing. This is the foundation, and this is the reading comprehension. I'm going to ask a question here, and through chat, I'm going to ask you, so what's the difference between the reading foundation program and the reading comprehension program? We're going to try to keep you interacting just like we would with your students in the classroom. So go ahead and do that.
All right, I can see people typing. Looks like we have some answers coming in, and I do appreciate that. Sylvia, they're reporting out to you. Reading foundation is letters and letter sounds. Reading foundation teaches you how to read, and reading comprehension deals with the understanding of what was read in a text. Reading comprehension is for students who already know the letters and letter sounds. A reading foundation, phonics, words recognition, right? Thank you. Foundation is phonics based and comprehension is language building. Reading foundation is learning to read.
Okay, now we have pre-selected some lessons that we're going to be teaching for you. And I'm going to walk you through how we would find a lesson. So I'm going to open up the reading foundation section, which is always blue. And if you take a look at this one, this is a day-by-day sequence of every single sound and the patterns for English. But of course, it takes 2 years to do all these sounds and to go over all these spelling patterns. If you take a look at the Reading Foundation program, the first week, we have in there review the high frequency words. We do quite a bit of the reviewing from the previous year. So if I take a look at week number 2, it says here that we are doing our phonics lessons, but we are reviewing all the sounds that we learn on level A. Today, we have selected that we will be teaching a phonics lesson. So all you have to do, this is all connected to your program, is click on phonics, and then the lesson is right there for you. We're going to be doing that lesson right after Joe finishes his. Go ahead, Joe.
Good morning, everyone. One of the quagmires that we are facing as teachers and remote learning is, how do we engage our students at home? How are we going to ensure that they're active participators? How can we check for understanding to make sure they're learning? We do know one thing for sure in our brain research is that passive learners who are just listening are not retaining information. We have to find a way to engage them. So one of the first things we can do is really promote our student engagement norms, okay? So what I have here, and I have my student engagement norms that are up. I have to train my students on this. We're gonna have, you're emphasizing, hey, we're all active participants. This is how we're gonna learn from home. So I'm consistently reinforcing the student engagement norms to my students at home. First, unfortunately with Zoom, because the people on the Zoom on the other side, you're a second delayed. So you're not able to all chorally read. So you have to tell them, look, this is all, we're on the honor system at home class. I need you reading. I need you saying this out loud at home, because that's how you're gonna learn these words. That's how you're gonna increase your vocabulary, and you need to do these at home with me. So the first one is pronounce with me. Everyone say that at home. Ready? 1, 2, 3. And right now you're going to role model. You're going to role play that you're my students, my 2nd and 3rd graders at home. Everyone pronounce this word with me. Pronounce with me. Everyone do it. Pronounce with me. So pronounce with me as teachers, you're going through your lesson. You're going to choose 1 or 2 words that might be very difficult for students to read, and you're going to practice pronouncing them with the students. For example, I have student engagement. I might choose engagement. Class, let's look at this word. I'll read it first. Engagement. Your turn. Engagement. Read it. Engagement. Then we have track with me, read with me. That's when the teacher will pre-read a sentence, and then the students, that supports the students' reading fluency, and then the students read that sentence afterwards. Now, gesture with me, especially with younger students, but also with ELs, this is a cognitive brain strategy that's also kinesthetic, that gets our students to, we can use it as effective feedback and for them to retain the information more. It's some type of physical gesture that they will help them remember what we're teaching them. Pair share, we're not going to be able to do that at home, not when they're by themselves on their computers. So that's why we have to consistently ask, check for understanding. Attention signal, that's going to be the teacher prompting them. Whiteboards. Now, Sylvia, can you show them red dot, green dot from over there? Red dot means no. Green dot means yes. We can have our students have whiteboards. We're checking for understanding. Is the answer here or not? We can train them at home. Okay, for quick checking for understanding. Another thing you can do with Zoom, I can't do it while I'm sharing my screen, but it's you can put thumbs up or clap. It's annotations there. So you put thumbs up or clap. But everyone at home, just do this with me. Thumbs up. Can you do that, everyone at home? All the teachers? Or thumbs down. because we have to see if they're getting it. And remember, you tell the students, look, this is for me to see if you're understanding. If you're doing this, that means you don't understand. Just put a thumbs down so I know to explain it, so I can explain it again. And complete sentences, we're always emphasizing that our students are answering in complete sentences. Why? So they can promote the academic vocabulary being taught. And the way you learn another language is by speaking that language. So we have to have them continually speaking and speaking in complete sentences to promote academic language. So here's what a lesson would look like with all the engagement norms. First, I'm going to scan the page. This is my learning objective and activating prior knowledge. I'm going to scan the page for a word that I think that I'll use throughout the lesson. It's not going to be a supplementary vocabulary word. It'll be an academic or content vocabulary word that I use throughout the lesson. Characters might be one that the students might need help pronouncing with me. So this will be pronounce with me, and then I'll go into track with me, read with me strategies. All right, students, let's look at this word right here in our sentence, in our learning objective. This is how you pronounce this word and read it. Characters. Now everyone at home, read that with me. Characters. Again, characters. Again, characters. That's how you read that word and pronounce it. Now, I'm going to read the learning objective. Track with me while I read it first. We will describe or tell about characters in a story. Everyone read with me. Ready? 1, 2, 3. We will describe characters in a story. All right, one more time. We will describe characters in a story. Because we can't pair share at home, we might just have to read it a few times all at once, because we try to read it. Track with me, the teacher reads, the students get to practice the academic vocabulary once. Read with me, they practice it twice. Pair share 3, 4 times. Then you randomly select, and that's how we include our repetitions. So now, I know this might be uncomfortable at home, but we have to encourage our students. All right, I have to check for understanding. So I'm randomly selecting people at home. Rebecca, can you read the learning objective for me, please?
We will describe characters in a story.
Okay. Elena, can you read the learning objective for me, please?
We will describe characters in a story.
Okay, and that's how I'm engaging my students at home. Now, I don't track with me, read with me everything, because it'll slow down my lesson. So I have to be careful with that. So maybe this one I'll make a decision. I'll just read this out loud, but we want our students hearing everything. Which could be a character in a story, okay? Let's remember what a character is. A character is a person, animal, or thing in the story. Characters talk or do something. Remember how we learned how to do that? Everyone at home, do this with me. A character is a person. Here's my first gesture. A character is a person because I'm a person. Or animal, because animals have funny ears. I need to see everyone doing that. Or thing in a story. That's how I'm going to remember that. But what do characters have to do? They have to talk like a person and say things, or do something like a person would do, like play the guitar or cry. That's what makes it a character. Which could be a character in a story. Explain. Could a princess that talks be a character in the story? Show me red dot, green dot at home. Show me thumbs up or thumbs down at home. Can a princess be a character in a story? Explain. Show me at home. Let me see the pictures. Okay. All right. Here, I'll check for understanding. And then we have to get feedback from our students. Claudia, I saw that you put yes. It could be a character. Can you explain? And when you answer, I want a complete sentence. It's a character because.
It's a character because the princess could talk.
Can talk. And what else is a princess? What else is a...
A princess is also a person.
That's right. See how my gestures are going to give effective feedback to my students. Very nice. Thank you. All right. A mountain that does not talk. Could that be a character in a story? Show me at home. Thumbs up or thumbs down. Let me see it. All right. Oh, Cherie, you said no, it's not a character. Why is it not a character?
Because a mountain cannot talk.
Yeah, mountain is not talking. Now here in EDI, we can, with one question, we can differentiate. So right now, Cherie was, I checked for understanding, but let's say I have a, Vera, you're a high performing student. I need to challenge you. So I can go to someone like you and say, Vera Ramirez, you said the mountain is not a character in a story, correct? That's right. How could it become a character? What would it have to do? Vera, and look, and I can prompt.
It's Veronica. That's okay.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Just V.E. Ramirez, that's all. I'm sorry. A mountain can become a character if it can talk in a story.
Yeah. Have we seen a magic mountain talking in or a cave and all that? That's how we would do that. See how we can differentiate? I'm extending students. Now, I'm also, if a student had a thumbs down, we don't call on them first. So I'm echoing the answer over and over so that student who had the misconception will hear the answer. I'm not over teaching. The students I'm calling are teaching my class. I'm just echoing their answers. Now I could call on someone who had a thumbs down. Let's pretend, Paula, you said the mountain was a character. Would you change it? Is a mountain a character in a story? Oh, I'm sorry, you're on a little bit of a delay there, Paula. And these are some of the technical difficulties we'll have because Paula, it looks like your screen freezed up, and it's usually an internet strength issue. Okay, but that's how I can differentiate with one question. Now that was just activating prior knowledge and learning objective. This is where the teaching really begins in concept development. Now, this is a teacher gesture. This is what I train my teachers how to teach concept development. At home, teachers, this is what I'm doing when I'm teaching concept development. I'm getting my students an academic definition. Everyone do this? An academic definition. For them to contextualize that definition, they have to have multiple examples. Everyone do this? Multiple examples. And then I check for understanding. That's the triangle that I'm constantly doing in concept development so they can access information. It looks something like this. Track with me, my turn. A character is a person, animal, or thing in the story. Read with me, everyone at home, let's read. A character is a person, animal, or thing in the story. Remember how we remember that? A character is a person. Everyone do that at home. Animal or thing in the story. Okay? Track with me. What characters do or say describes what they are like. Read with me. Ready? 1, 2, 3. What characters do or say describes what they are like. Oh, this is going to tell me what a character is like. Is the character going to be nice, friendly, mean, generous? We're going to find out. But how do I find out? It's by their actions. What do they do? Everyone do this. What does the character do? Or what does the character say will tell me what they're like. The cat and rat. Everyone, the cat and rat. I'm kind of promote reading, but I'm not going to emphasize it. Tom the cat does not like rats. Read with me. Tom the cat does not like rats. One day, Tom saw Ray the rat in his house. Ready? One day, Tom saw Ray the rat in his house. Tom yelled, "You must go." Read with me. Tom yelled, "You must go." Wait a second. I have a cat named Tom. Okay, he's an animal. A cat's an animal, and he's yelling. So he's talking. So I know he's a character, but what is he saying? He's saying something. You must go. Everyone at home, say that really, really nasty and mean. You must go. Well, wait a second. If someone yelled at you and said, you must go, you must leave, is that nice or is that mean? That's mean. So, but what he's saying is something mean. That Tom must be mean. So that's an example of when a character says something, he's mean. Tom chased him away. Everyone read that? Tom chased him away. Wait a second. Now he's doing something. Everyone pretend like you're chasing someone, but angrily. Everyone at home, chase someone. You're chasing them. You want to catch them. You want to scare them. Well, that's doing something. Is that a nice thing to do to chase someone? No. Would you be nice? You would be mean if you chased someone and if you yelled at them. That's why we know what a character's like by what they do or what they say. So I've given you an academic definition. I've given my students multiple examples to contextualize that definition. Now we check for understanding. Does the sentence, Tom chased him away, show that Tom is mean? Tell me yes or no. But what makes this higher order is the justification piece of our students. Be ready to explain. So everyone at home, does the sentence, Tom chased him away, show that Tom is mean? Show me yes or no. Can I see everyone at home, please? Okay, Erica, I saw that you put yes. Why does the sentence, Tom chased him away, why does that show that Tom is mean?
It shows because it has an exclamation mark. I see it.
It shows an exclamation, but also, now remember, we have to support, sometimes you have to model justification for our students.
And
okay?
your voice?
Yeah, my voice, but when someone is chasing someone, is that a nice thing to do or is that a mean thing to do?
It's a mean thing to do.
That's right. That's why it would show that Tom is mean. Now look here. Now we have to think, maybe I have a high performing student that I have to challenge. All right. I see Hero. I like Hero Mero. I know that's an abbreviation. It's something Romero, but I'm going to call you Hero Mero. Mr. Romero, if you're a high performing student, what would Tom have to do to make him seem nice? What kind of action would he have to do to make him seem nice?
He would have to show a smile on his face.
Wow, if he's smiling, he's doing something nice. That's right. That's how you describe a character, by what they do and sometimes by what they say. Miss C. Stoll, you're a high-performing student I might want to extend. What would they have to say to be nice? What would Tom have to say to show me that he's nice?
Tom would have to be nice by saying, please come in, or I like you.
Something like that. That's real understanding. That's when we have deep level understanding, when they can extend their thinking. Now, if we have to support them, you might have to re-emphasize, give them multiple examples of being mean, what actions they do. What else would he have to do? What's another action, something he does that shows him that he's mean? What's another thing that he says to make him describe that he's mean? Anyway, right there, very quick example of how I'm using all my engagement norms. I'm teaching concept development, I'm modeling, and I'm checking for understanding. So now, Sylvia, can you show us a phonemic awareness?
Okay, hi, I'm Sylvia. Why don't you go ahead and on the chat box, what did you get away from this lesson that is going to really engage your students? We will actually use engagement norms in the classroom, but we have found them to be very effective too whenever we're trying to do remote learning. So go ahead and on your chat box, give us some feedback. How would the engagement norms help you with your students in the classroom or in the Ethernet?
I love what I'm seeing. The engagement norms would keep students engaged all the time. I will be able to tell who's following along by looking at their hand motions, gestures, and answers. Physical responses to check for understanding or participation. The repetition, be careful. We have a difference in repetition. We're track with me, read with me, but we're echoing students' answers because we want the students doing the heavy lifting. We're just echoing their answers. Look, the difficult part of doing this from home is you don't get that immediate oral response, that the sense, your teacher senses. I don't hear my students tracking with me, reading with me, but I can see them a little bit. So we're always going to have to give them that metacognition and understanding. This is why we're doing this. I need you at home doing this because we have to make sure you're learning. You're only cheating yourself if you're not reading with me or tracking with me. If you don't know the answer, that's okay. I have to know so I can help you and I can support your learning. We have to do this together. And that buy-in will help support your learners because this is a challenge. This will be a challenge to do that, and we don't want them getting behind on us, so we have to find a way to meet their needs with this remote teaching. Go ahead, Sylvia.
Okay, another thing that I would like to tell you is that this program is highly calibrated for every grade level. Joe did the kindergarten lesson for identify characters. The students, all they had to do was to identify who was a character in the story. In this level B, they're no longer just identifying characters. It's kind of the beginning of characterization. So the students have to tell what the traits are, what the personality traits are. So it's highly calibrated. So the students are moving not only in language, but they're also moving in their thinking, because as they actually have a better control of language, a better expansion of their language, then they can actually start getting at a very, very, very high level of thinking. So we did the identification. Then we also, now we're doing the describing. And you will find as you go to the different grade levels or the different levels, you will find that it becomes even more difficult as far as the type of stories, as far as the challenges. We now are going to be putting even more distractors so the students are identifying the real characters. Okay, but however, Joe did a reading comprehension lesson. I'm going to be doing a phonics lesson.
Sylvia, can I just add one very quick comment? I saw a question from Miss Robles. When you want the students reading along as a group, do you have them unmute? Unfortunately, when you have this many participants and we all unmute, it's because of the delay, you can't hear them synchronized. So it's a lot of really difficult feedback. So they're actually reading at home muted. But to ensure that they are doing this, what I would do is randomly select one or two students and say, okay, let's see who can read this for me. Veronica Ramirez, read this with me. Socorobas, read this with me. You can only do one at a time or two at a time because of the delay. If you have them all at once, it's too much feedback. You can't really hear it.
Okay, now I'm going to be sharing my screen and I'm going to be doing the phonics lesson. This is not in the reading comprehension, this is in the reading foundational. So this one is long A words. This is a phonics lesson. Your program in kindergarten, first grade and second grade, it still has phonemic awareness. This one is beginning to give the students a lot of the foundationals as far as the different spelling patterns. Every single one of your lessons in this program will have a learning objective. But it's very, very important that we all read the learning objective with the strategies that Joe has been training you how to do it. So if I were looking at this, I would think that probably at this level, my students know how to read "we will." So I don't really have to make a big deal out of that. But this is important because at this point in time, the students are learning how to track with the teacher. So what I would like you to do is, at least so they can track with you, I want you to go like this and tell now students, I want you to see you all going like this. So you're pointing to my screen over here. So all show me that you're pointing on my screen. Very nice. I can see that you're pointing at my screen. So follow along. We will, you read. We will read, you read.
Read.
Long A words. Can we read that? Long A words. Students, can you go like this? They're going to be the long A. Can we all say like this? Long A. Great. I want you to all give me a high five. High five. Very nice. Long A. So students, I want you to take a look at here. And I know that we know how to read this because we have been reading this. Apple. Can you read that? Apple. Can you read this? Ape.
A.
Ape. Students, when we hear apple and when we hear ape, we have here the letter A, but they do not have the same sound. Let's go like this. They do not have the same sound. Let's read this one more time. Apple. Let's read this one. Ape. The letter A has two sounds. Can you go like this? The letter A has two sounds. A. Can we say that? A. And that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to be looking at the long A, which is ape. Can we go like this? Is the A is long. Let's all go like this. Is long. Very nice. So this is what we call here the learning objective, but also activating prior knowledge. This is a systematic, highly structured program that the students are being introduced to many sounds as we go along, but by the end of the year 2, they would have been exposed to all the sounds and all the letter patterns that they're going to need to be able to read well. So this one is what Joe was telling, the concept development. And concept development, remember what Joe was saying, it has a definition. So let's go like this. It has a definition. Pay attention to that definition because that definition is making the connection to the alphabetical principle, and that's what you want the kids to learn. We also have here a little microphone for you, and if you play that, A says A. Okay, but this is extremely important here. Students, we're going to read this together. Long A, you read. Long A says its letter name. Can we read it? Says its letter name. So students, we are looking at the long A. Can we go like this? We're looking at the long A. We already see this. This is ape. Can you read that?
Ape.
Ape. Can we read it one more time?
Ape.
Ape. Students, when we say ape, we say ape. That's the long A. Can we go like this? That's the long A. Very nice. Now, another thing about these lessons is you have examples here. They're even color-coded for you. If you take a look at blue, that's the one that is going to say the long A. But if you take a look at the green here, that's the one that is not going to say the letter A. And you don't have to explain all of this to your students, but you have to be paying attention as a teacher to all the different cueing systems that we have for you. So we will use a lot of colors to convey meaning for you, and not only for you, but also for the students. So students, let's take a look at another word that is also have the long A. Apron. Can we say that, please? Apron. Can we read it one more time? Apron. That says the letter long A. Can we go like this? It has the long A. Now, students, this one, acorn. Can we read it? Acorn. Can we read it one more time? Acorn. Acorn has the long A. But not all the words will have the long A. Listen to this one. Ant. Can you read that? Ant. Can you read it one more time? Ant. I do not hear the long A. Now, I'm ready to check for understanding. This is the phonics section of your program. So you have to make sure that you are actually also teaching the students to recognize these letters. So if I take a look at this one, and I want you to think about this. What is the name of this letter? And when you answer, I want you to tell me the name is, so think about it. And I want you to go like this when you're thinking about, so you can all show me that you're thinking about something. Not all of you are showing me that you're thinking about. Show me that you're thinking about this. Okay. So now Miss Claudia Flores, can you tell me the name of this letter? And can you say the name is?
The name is A.
Oh, very nice. High five. Okay, so, and if you notice, remember how we told you that when we saying the name of the letter, we're already saying the long sound. Can we go like this? We're already saying the long sound. So this is what's going to be the concept development of the lesson. But then we have a lot of additional words that the students will be able to practice. And the important part of this lesson is not really the long A, but now in first grade on level B, you're beginning to introduce the spelling patterns that are going to make the long A sound. So if you look at this one here, this is going to give the students additional information because we cannot distinguish when we read something whether we're going to be able to do the long A or the short A. So the only way is now to start teaching the students the spelling patterns. So I'm going to stop here because we have 9 more minutes to go. So I'm going to ask you on the chat, when you're looking at the phonics lesson, how did you find also the engagement norms? We're not changing them. We go all the way to high school and we still use engagement norms. So go ahead and talk, not talk to each other, but go ahead and give us some feedback using chat. Okay, we're getting very nice responses. It's great to getting a review of all the letters and the important spelling patterns. It was easy to follow and eventually it felt natural to stretch. Yes, and you're keeping the kids awake. The brain that is not processing information is not learning. Let's keep that in mind. If we're only looking at each other, we're not learning this information. And then the concept big learn is important. Yes, it's very important because we have actually seen, we have now been in 35,000 classrooms because we have a lot of people out in the field. Not anymore. We have a lot of people now in Zoom. Many times we don't make this connection for the students. And if we don't make the connection for the students that it's a letter name and the spelling patterns, then the students are really not able to think at a very, very high level. And the other one, I saw that you stated the concept, big learn. It was easy to follow. It was great getting a review of all the lessons.
Can I just add one thing, Sylvia? Can you show an example of how you check for understanding during that?
Yeah, right on the side here, you always have your checking for understanding. So on the previous one, I wanted to know if you can recognize the letter A. Then on this one, I'm going to know if the students can recognize the spelling pattern. If you have a high-performing class and you don't need for the students to just to recognize the letter A, you can start the lesson over here with the spelling pattern. But on the side here, we have the checking for understanding for the patterns. So we have what sound does the spelling pattern AI say? And the students are going to have AI says. I want you to think about it. So what sound does the spelling pattern AI say? Go ahead and think. Show me that you're thinking. And now I'm going to ask you a question.
It's Sherry.
It says A. Very nice. And then on the next page, we have a lot of additional words So the way we would do this, we have here what you would say, and you say add. Can we all say that? Add. Do you hear the long A sound? Show me with your whiteboard or show me thumbs up or thumbs down. At the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. And then, like Joe says, these lessons do not work unless we have the justification. So we will check on individual students. Why is it that you're saying that it doesn't have the long A sound? Laura, it doesn't have the long A sound because? Okay, some of you might have to unmute yourself. And at this point of time, we would like to. Very nice. These are all the little glitches that you're going to find, the kids muting or unmuting, or you're going to have to unmute the students and doing quite a few other things. Another thing that I like to share with you, but this is the mechanics of doing this. If you do this from home, you might want to take a look at maybe having 2 screens, because the lesson you can be putting in one screen and all the students on the other screen. Otherwise, you only can see about 6 students at a time. It's very hard with a little screen to see everyone. But I was able to see you. I was able to see you moving your mouth, going like this, and doing quite a few other things.
Because it's so difficult to engage students and to ensure participation when they're learning remotely, independently at home, the key that I'm finding is the checking for understanding and calling on students. And, you know, a lot of comments said, oh, if they're gesturing, I can see if they're following. If they're showing me thumbs up, thumbs down, I can see if they're following. But if I call on them too, and I hear their response, that helps me as well. That keeps everyone accountable. I know one thing, if I'm talking too much and for too long, those students aren't learning at home. They can't, you don't retain that information. So I have to ensure participation by consistently always checking for understanding, even something as simple as phonics and letter formation. Which one has the long A? Does add have the long A? Tell me how you know. The snail have the, that's what's going to keep your students engaged at home.
Okay, so let's take a look at some of the gestures that will let you know that your kids are following. Show me that you're thinking. All of you, show me that you're thinking. High five. That's just to tell them you did a good job. Show me that you're tracking. Show me the long A. Show me that it is a character. Very nice. All of you, give me a high five. 2 high fives.
That's a high 10.
Oh, okay, a high 10. Okay, thank you very much. If you have any questions, you